The void didn't mourn. It never had. Captain Elira Voss stood at the observation blister of the UNS Vireo, her breath fogging the reinforced quartz as she stared into the starless dark where Sol System used to be. Not used to be in the poetic sense, but in the cold, bureaucratic reality of galactic cartography. According to the Synod of Harmonized Species' latest stellar registry update, Sol was no longer listed. Not quarantined. Not restricted. Just gone. Erased like a typo. Still nothing on long-range sensors, came Cale Renner's voice over the comm, quiet but steady. No debris fields. No energy signatures. Not even residual EM echoes. It's like Earth was never there. Elira didn't answer right away. She traced a finger over the smudge of her own breath. Faint, temporary, human. That's what Earth had been to the galaxy, a smudge. A brief anomaly in an otherwise orderly cosmos. Run it again, she said finally. All bands. Gravimetric neutrino quantum resonance. If they scrubbed us clean, they missed something. Captain, Joris Menix cut in from engineering, his voice crackling with static and sarcasm. We've been scanning that patch of nothing for 12 hours. Even Hope needs a power source, and I'm running low on both. Then reroute auxiliary from life support, Elira said flatly. We're not leaving. A pause. Then Tisa Lynn's calm, clipped tone. You know what this means, don't you? I know what it looks like, Elira replied. But the Synod doesn't delete records. They quarantine, they observe, they study. Erasure isn't protocol, it's panic. And panic, she knew, was very, very human. The Vireo wasn't supposed to be here. Originally a deep-range survey vessel, it had been repurposed 3 years ago when Earth Defense Corps began rotating crews to fringe systems, ostensibly for resource mapping, but really to keep eyes on the Synod's growing influence. Humanity had been granted observer status a decade prior, a diplomatic olive branch that felt more like a leash. You're welcome among the harmonized, the Synod envoys had said, so long as you harmonize. But Earth had refused to fully network its neural infrastructure, refused to adopt the Synod's bioconformity standards, refused to stop asking why. Now, Earth was gone, and the Vireo, its crew of 5, cut off from command, drifting near the outer rim of former Sol territory, was the only witness. Captain, Kyle said again, this time from the bridge doorway. He held a data slate, his face pale under the soft blue glow. You need to see this. Elira followed him to the central holotable. Above it shimmered a star map, empty where Sol should be. But Cale had overlaid raw sensor logs, unfiltered by Synod-compliant software. There, he said, tapping a faint distortion near the Oort cloud's former edge. It's not a signal. It's a shadow, a quantum echo embedded in background radiation, like someone tried to overwrite a file but left fragments. Tisa leaned in. Could it be a trap? Everything out here is a trap, Elira said. But if there's even a 1% chance this is a message, we owe it to them to look. Them? Joris muttered from the engineering port. Who's left to owe? Dr. Orlanve entered then, medkit slung over his shoulder, his usual weariness sharpened by grief. The dead, he said quietly. And the disappeared. No one argued. They plotted a micro-jump, just enough to skirt the distortion without triggering long-range Synod patrols. The Vireo groaned as its aging full drive cycled, the deck vibrating like a dying heartbeat. When they dropped out of slipstream, they found it. Not a ship, not a station, a ghost. Drifting in the vacuum was the shattered hull of a Synod Peacekeeper-class cruiser, designation HC-774, Calm Resolve. Its harmonized bioceramic plating was scorched black in jagged lines, as if clawed by something furious and precise. Most telling, its core AI node had been ripped out, not destroyed, removed. That's impossible, Tisa whispered. Synod vessels were psychically linked to their crews. Disabling the core meant killing every being aboard instantly, and no species in the coalition would dare defile a vessel like that. It was sacrilege. Unless they weren't given a choice, Cale said, scanning the wreckage. Look at the breach patterns. This wasn't external fire. It came from inside. Elira's pulse quickened. Boarding party. Full envirosuits. Tessa, Joris, you're with me. Cale, monitor comms. Doc, prep the medbay. Assume survivors are hostile. Or worse. Inside the derelict, silence reigned, not the peaceful kind, but the thick, choking quiet of recent violence. The crew moved in formation, mag boots clanging against buckled decking. Emergency lights flickered in hues of sterile violet, casting long shadows. Then they found the bodies. Dozens of them. Synod envoys, engineers, bioharmonizers, floating in a central chamber. All humanoid, all clad in silver-gray weave, all with neural ports at their temples torn open from the inside. No blood. No struggle marks, just empty. They disconnected themselves, Doc said, voice tight. Voluntarily severed from the harmonized network. It would have been like tearing out their own minds. Why? Joris asked, scanning a wall console with a handheld decoder. The network is their identity. Unless they learned something worth losing themselves over, Illyra said. Then Joris froze. Captain, you gotta see this. On the console, beneath layers of corrupted code, was a data packet, encrypted but tagged with an old Earth Defense Corps cipher. Illyra's eyes widened. She keyed in her command override. The screen flickered, then played a message. It was a human, worn, bleeding from the nose. Standing in what looked like a bunker deep beneath Geneva, behind her, flickering monitors showed orbital defense grids going dark. This is Director Mara Chen, Earth Central Command, the woman said, voice raw but steady. If anyone's hearing this, the Synod didn't just isolate us. They're erasing all species that show unguided evolutionary divergence. They call it cosmic hygiene. Earth was next on the list. But we weren't alone. They've done this before. 12 worlds. Maybe more. She coughed, blood speckling her lips. We tried to warn the fringe systems. Sent ships. All vanished. Our last play was to plant this echo beacon in a captured Synod vessel and make it look like an internal purge. If you're seeing this, they failed. The truth got out. She leaned closer, eyes burning. Don't mourn us. Outlive them. The feed cut to static. Silence. Then Joris whispered, "Oh, hell." "What?" Tisa asked. He pointed at the console's timestamp. "This message was sent 3 days ago." Illyra's blood ran cold. Earth wasn't gone for decades. It fell last week. And if the Synod was still cleaning up loose ends... Her comm crackled. Kale's voice sharp with alarm. "Captain!" Long-range sweep just picked up 3 Synod vessels on intercept course. Vector Sigma. ETA, 40 minutes. They're broadcasting a Class 9 compliance demand. Standard protocol for anomalies. Illyra looked at her crew, faces lit by the ghost light of a dead world's last stand. "Then we're not an anomaly," she said, voice hardening like forged steel. "We're a response. Joris, can you extract that data packet?" "Already copying to the Vireo's black box core." "But if they scan us..." "They won't scan us," Illyra said. "Because we're not staying." She turned to Tisa. "Plot a jump to the nearest fringe system. Galen's Reach. Non-aligned. Chaotic. The kind of place the Synod avoids." "And then?" Doc asked. "Then we do what humans do best," Illyra said, strapping on her helmet. "We spread the truth like a virus." Back aboard the Vireo, alarms blared as the fold drive spooled up. The Synod ships were closing fast, sleek, silent predators gliding through the dark. "Drive at 92%, Joris called. "We're pushing it, but we'll make the jump." "Good," Illyra said, gripping the command chair. "Kyle, once we're clear, encode the data packet into a tight beam burst. Target every independent colony, pirate hub, and rebel node within 500 light years. You're broadcasting to the fringes?" Doc asked. "That's suicide. They'll hunt us across the quadrant." Illyra met his eyes. "Let them try." The ship shuddered. Fold space enveloped them in liquid silver. They vanished a second before the Synod cruisers opened fire. In the quiet hum of slipstream, the crew gathered on the bridge. No cheers, no relief, just the weight of what they now carried. Coyle broke the silence. "What do we call this?" "The data packet, I mean." Illyra looked out at the swirling chaos of folded space. "Beautiful, untamed, dangerous. Call it the last standard," she said. "Because that's what we're fighting for. Not survival, legacy." Then from the comms array a faint ping. Tissa frowned. Receiving an encrypted reply. Origin unknown. It's repeating 2 words on loop. She played it. A distorted, synthesized voice, humanoid but layered with static, spoke. "We remember." The crew exchanged glances. Not from Galen's Reach, not from any known system, from somewhere deeper. Illyra's eyes narrowed. "Lock onto that signal. Plot a secondary jump when we exit. Captain, Joris warned, we don't even know if it's real. Does it sound like hope? She asked. He hesitated. Yeah, then it's real enough. As the Vireo hurtled through the void, carrying Earth's final defiance into the dark, none of them noticed the tiny anomaly in the ship's aft sensor log, a distortion mirroring the one near Sol. But growing something had followed them, and it was learning.